Imagine standing on the battlefield, facing an enemy so strong, so relentless, that defeat seems inevitable. You have no army, no weapons, only faith in something greater than yourself. This is exactly where the Israelites found themselves, when a ruthless enemy attacked without warning. But what happened next isn't just a battle. It's a miraculous demonstration of God's power that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about victory. Stick with me, because this story isn't just about an ancient battle. It's about how faith, unity, and divine intervention can overcome the most impossible odds. Trust me, you won't want to miss the incredible ending of this story. Have you ever been faced with an enemy so relentless, so powerful, that victory seemed impossible? In the book of Exodus, the Israelites found themselves in just such a position when they encountered the Amalekites. This wasn't just any battle. It was a fight that would test their faith, their unity, and their trust in God. With no formal military training, just the strength of their faith, the Israelites stood against a ruthless enemy on the plains of Rephidim. The Amalekites, descendants of Esau, were known for their fierce and unpredictable attacks. This wasn't a battle of armies alone, but of spirit. The Israelites, recently freed from slavery in Egypt, had no idea what awaited them in the wilderness. Despite the hardships they had already endured, they now faced an enemy determined to destroy them. The Amalekites attacked without warning, striking the vulnerable Israelites who were unprepared for a military fight. But this was no ordinary confrontation. This battle would soon reveal the power of God's intervention. As the battle raged, Moses, standing on a hill, lifted his hands in prayer, showing the Israelites that their strength did not lie in physical weapons alone, but in their reliance on God's power. Each time his hands were raised, the Israelites grew stronger. But when he grew tired and lowered his hands, the Amalekites began to gain the upper hand. This moment of vulnerability would ultimately lead to one of the most remarkable demonstrations of God's faithfulness and the power of intercession. What happens when a single person's strength begins to fade? In the midst of the fierce battle, Moses, though a leader of great faith, grew weary. But this was not the moment to let his fatigue dictate the outcome. In that crucial moment, Aaron and Hur came to his side, each lifting one of Moses' arms, ensuring that the Israelites' connection to God would remain unbroken. This moment is a powerful lesson in teamwork and the strength that comes from working together toward a common purpose. It wasn't just Moses' hands that held the fate of the battle in his grasp, but the combined effort of 3 men. While Moses prayed with raised hands, Aaron and Hur were the physical support needed to keep his arms aloft. The Israelites learned that when they worked together under the guidance of faith, there was nothing they could not achieve, even when facing insurmountable odds. As the hours passed, Moses' hands stayed raised, and the tide of battle began to turn. The Amalekites, once confident in their superiority, began to lose ground. With each passing moment, God's hand was made evident as the Israelites fought not just with their swords, but with their faith. The Amalekites, unable to withstand the force of God's favor, started retreating, and victory for the Israelites seemed more and more certain. It was a moment where faith, community, and divine power intertwined to secure a victory no one thought possible. The Israelites had won the battle, but the story didn't end there. God's victory was not just a temporary triumph over the Amalekites. It was a divine promise of protection and deliverance for his people. After the battle, Moses built an altar and called it "The Lord is my banner," Jehovah Nissi, to remind the Israelites that their victory was not by their might, but by God's intervention. God had fought for them, and his power had made their victory possible. But there was more to come. God spoke to Moses, declaring that he would utterly blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven. This was a promise that God would continue to fight for Israel, and the victory over Amalek was a testament to his faithfulness. It was a declaration that whenever the Israelites were faced with battles, physical or spiritual, they could rely on God's intervention and power. He would always be their banner, leading them to victory. This story reminds us that no matter the odds, no matter the enemy we face, when we rely on God, victory is not just possible, it's guaranteed. The Israelites weren't victorious because of their strength, but because they trusted in a God who is greater than any enemy. As the battle ended, their faith was solidified, and their trust in God was strengthened. They knew that with God on their side, they were unstoppable. If you've ever faced a challenge that seemed too big to overcome, this story is a powerful reminder that with faith and God's help, you can overcome even the toughest of battles. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories of faith and divine intervention. Share this message with someone who needs to hear it today.